Welcome to Senior Health Smart, your daily guide to heart health and smart aging. The nighttime eating habit that could be harming your heart and brain. I want to spread meaningful values and positive thinking that truly matter in life, especially for older adults who deserve to feel safe, confident, and in control of their health. When you reach your 60s, 70s, or 80s, your priorities shift. You begin to realize that health is not just a goal, it is a daily decision and a foundation that determines how you enjoy your time, your independence, and your loved ones. As a cardiologist and nutrition expert, I have spent decades helping seniors protect their hearts and their minds. And today I want to reveal a hidden danger that often goes unnoticed. That danger is what you eat at night and when you eat it. While most people pay attention to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, few realize that those little bites before bed could be the most dangerous meals of the day. Let us take a closer look. For many seniors, evening is the time to relax. You may have finished dinner a few hours earlier, but now you want something small, maybe something sweet or salty or just comforting. A banana, a little bowl of cereal, a slice of toast with cheese, or a cup of yogurt might sound light and harmless. But the truth is these small choices made night after night can build up into serious health consequences. Especially after the age of 60, your body does not process food the same way it used to. Your metabolism slows down, your blood vessels become less flexible, your insulin response becomes weaker, and your digestive system moves at a slower pace. This means that whatever you eat in the hours before bed stays in your system longer and affects your body more deeply than you might expect. When you sleep, your body is supposed to rest and repair. Your heart rate should slow down, your blood pressure should dip, and your arteries should relax and recover. But when you eat high sugar, high salt, or high fat foods late at night, you interrupt this natural healing process. Instead of resting, your body must digest, absorb, and regulate. Your blood sugar rises, your insulin spikes, your digestive organs stay active, and your blood vessels may become inflamed. If this happens once, it is not a big deal. But if this becomes a pattern, your heart and brain suffer silently over time. You may not feel it right away, but it builds up. It is also important to remember that most strokes happen not during the day, but in the early morning hours between 4 and 8 a.m. That is when blood pressure naturally rises as your body prepares to wake. If your system is already under stress from the foods you ate before bed, that natural rise in pressure can trigger a serious event. In the next parts, we will look at 10 foods to avoid before bed and what to eat instead to protect your heart and brain every night. The 3 healthy foods that quietly disrupt your heart while you sleep. Now that we understand how eating late at night can affect your heart and brain health, let us take a closer look at specific foods that are commonly consumed in the evening and why they may quietly be doing more harm than good. You might be surprised to learn that the biggest culprits are not always fast food or junk food. In fact, many of the most damaging late-night foods are actually considered healthy when eaten at the right time. But timing matters more than people realize, especially for older adults. 3 of the most common examples are fruit juice, bananas, and yogurt. These foods are frequently consumed by seniors who are trying to eat better, yet they may be increasing stroke risk when eaten before bed. Let us begin with fruit juice. On the surface, it seems like a wholesome drink. It comes from fruit, it is natural, and it is often seen as a better choice than soda or artificially flavored drinks. But most fruit juice is extremely high in natural sugars. Even when the label says no added sugar or 100% juice, it is still loaded with fructose and glucose. The problem with juice is that it lacks fiber. When you eat a whole apple or orange, the fiber in the fruit helps slow down the absorption of sugar. Juice does not have that buffer. Drinking a glass of juice before bed causes your blood sugar to spike very quickly. This leads to a sharp insulin response and can set off a chain reaction that disrupts your sleep, increases stress hormones, and keeps your blood pressure elevated during the night. And since the body is less insulin sensitive at night, these sugar spikes are even harder to control. Next is the banana. This fruit is rich in potassium and magnesium, which are excellent for heart health. During the day, a banana can be a great snack, but at night, the sugar and starch in bananas can cause trouble. A medium banana contains about 14 grams of sugar, mostly in the form of quickly digestible carbohydrates. Eating one before bed may raise your serotonin levels temporarily, which can help you feel sleepy. But as the sugar breaks down, it leads to a delayed blood sugar spike. This can interrupt your deep sleep, increase nighttime cortisol, and prevent your cardiovascular system from entering a relaxed state. Now let us talk about yogurt, especially flavored yogurt. Many seniors enjoy yogurt as a light evening snack, but most flavored yogurts contain more sugar than a dessert. One small cup can have 20 or more grams of sugar. Even low-fat or organic varieties are often sweetened to improve taste. The combination of dairy and sugar eaten at night leads to bloating, spikes in blood glucose, and increases in triglycerides, all of which are harmful for blood vessels, especially during sleep. Instead, choose a handful of raw nuts, a small serving of unsweetened kefir, or warm herbal tea. These choices support blood sugar stability and vascular health without placing extra stress on your heart. The salty foods that spike your blood pressure while you sleep. As we continue exploring the foods that quietly harm your heart when eaten at night, it is time to turn our attention to something that often gets overlooked: salt. While most people are aware that eating too much salt during the day can raise blood pressure, fewer people realize how harmful salty foods can be when eaten before bed. For seniors, the body's ability to regulate sodium becomes weaker with age. The kidneys are less efficient at filtering out excess salt, your arteries become less flexible, and your body retains more fluid. This means that eating high-sodium foods in the evening can quietly push your blood pressure higher while you sleep, and that increase may go completely unnoticed until it becomes a serious problem. One of the most common sources of hidden sodium is cold cuts. Deli meats like ham, turkey salami, or roast beef may seem like a simple light evening snack, but they are packed with preservatives and salt. Even just 2 or 3 slices can contain 500 to 800 milligrams of sodium. That is nearly half of the daily recommended limit for older adults in one small portion. When you eat cold cuts at night, that sodium pulls water into your bloodstream, causing your heart to pump harder to move the extra volume. This raises blood pressure, stresses your arteries, and reduces the restorative quality of your sleep. If you already have hypertension, heart disease, or a history of stroke, this nightly pressure load can quietly build into a dangerous situation. Now let us look at cheese. Many seniors enjoy a slice or two of cheese with crackers or melt it into a warm dish before bed. It feels like comfort food, but it comes at a cost. Cheese is not only high in sodium, but also high in saturated fat. The combination of these two ingredients makes it one of the worst nighttime foods for heart health. Even 1 ounce of cheddar contains over 170 milligrams of sodium and more than 6 grams of fat. When eaten at night, this fat slows digestion and keeps your system active instead of resting. The sodium raises blood pressure and causes fluid retention, which may explain why you wake up feeling puffy around the eyes or with swollen ankles. And then there is instant noodles. They are convenient, fast, and filling, but they are also extremely high in sodium and processed fats. A single package of instant noodles often contains over 1,500 milligrams of sodium, which is more than most people should consume in an entire day. These meals also include MSG and artificial additives that stimulate your nervous system, keeping your body in a state of tension rather than relaxation. This combination increases overnight blood pressure, contributes to hardening of the arteries, and elevates stroke risk, especially in those with existing cardiovascular issues. Instead of salty foods late at night, opt for steamed vegetables, a boiled egg, or unsalted nuts. These choices satisfy hunger without overwhelming your heart. How red meat and ice cream strain your heart and disrupt overnight healing. We have talked about how sugar and salt can harm your heart at night, but there is another category of foods that also poses a hidden threat when consumed before bedtime. These are high-fat, heavy foods that slow down digestion, raise blood lipids, and interfere with your body's natural ability to recover during sleep. 2 of the biggest offenders in this group are red meat and ice cream. While they are often seen as comforting, satisfying, and even nourishing, they can quietly overwhelm your cardiovascular system when eaten at night, especially for older adults whose digestion and circulation have naturally slowed with age. Let us begin with red meat. Whether it is a steak, a hamburger, or even a leftover piece of pot roast, red meat is rich in saturated fat. While the body can handle some saturated fat during active hours, eating it before bed creates a metabolic burden. That is because fat takes much longer to digest than carbohydrates or proteins. When you eat a heavy meat dish in the evening, your stomach and intestines are forced to stay active long after you lie down. This keeps your core temperature elevated, your heart rate slightly higher, and your body in a state of digestion rather than restoration. For seniors, this can disrupt sleep cycles, raise blood pressure, and worsen inflammation in the arteries. In addition to its fat content, red meat also contributes to a rise in triglycerides. These are fats that circulate in your blood and are closely linked to stroke risk, especially when elevated overnight. Triglycerides thicken the blood, reduce circulation, and increase the likelihood of plaque rupture in already narrowed arteries. If you have high cholesterol, prediabetes, or a family history of cardiovascular events, eating red meat at night may quietly increase your chances of developing problems. Now let us talk about ice cream. This dessert is beloved by many and often enjoyed at the end of a long day, but it is one of the worst things you can eat before bed. A single serving of ice cream delivers a heavy dose of both sugar and saturated fat. The sugar causes your blood glucose to rise sharply, triggering an insulin response and possibly disturbing your sleep within an hour or two. Meanwhile, the fat content slows digestion and contributes to a rise in LDL cholesterol. Eating ice cream late at night is like lighting two small fires in your bloodstream. One disrupts glucose control and the other accelerates artery damage. This is especially dangerous in people with heart failure, diabetes, or sleep apnea, who are already vulnerable to nighttime cardiovascular strain. If you crave something rich or creamy at night, try a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt with ground flaxseed or a few slices of avocado on whole grain toast. These provide healthy fats, fiber, and nutrients without overwhelming your system. Your heart and brain deserve foods that help them recover, not foods that make them work harder while you sleep. Refined carbs and fried foods that sabotage your heart while you sleep. As we conclude our exploration of foods that can quietly harm your heart, when eaten at night, we must talk about two categories that many people often overlook: refined carbohydrates and fried foods. These are foods that are quick, easy, and often deeply comforting, especially at the end of a long day. For seniors who may live alone or feel tired at the end of the evening, reaching for these foods can become a habit. Crackers, pastries, white toast, cookies, chips, and leftover fried foods like chicken or potatoes are all examples of meals or snacks that may seem harmless, but in reality, they interfere with the very healing your body is trying to accomplish while you sleep. Let us begin with refined carbohydrates. These are foods made from white flour stripped of their fiber and nutrients. When you eat them during the day, your body has more time and energy to process them. But at night, refined carbs break down very quickly into glucose. This causes your blood sugar to rise sharply and stay elevated longer because insulin sensitivity naturally decreases in the evening. For seniors, this is a serious issue because it means the body struggles to return to balance before morning. That blood sugar spike can prevent the natural dip in blood pressure that should occur during sleep. Without that dip, your heart works harder throughout the night, which reduces cardiovascular recovery and increases long-term stroke risk. Over time, repeated exposure to high nighttime blood sugar leads to a condition called endothelial dysfunction. The endothelium is the inner lining of your blood vessels. When it becomes inflamed or damaged due to sugar spikes, the arteries become more rigid and less able to respond to pressure changes. This is one of the early steps in the development of atherosclerosis, and it sets the stage for future cardiac or cerebrovascular events like stroke. Now let us discuss fried foods. Whether it is a handful of chips or last night's fried chicken, these foods contain oxidized oils and often trans fats, which are incredibly damaging to your arteries. These fats increase LDL cholesterol, reduce HDL, and promote systemic inflammation. When eaten at night, they interfere with your liver's detoxification processes, slow digestion, and keep your body in a reactive rather than restful state. They also increase triglyceride levels, which is a key risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Fried snacks often include a high sodium load as well, which further raises overnight blood pressure. Many seniors who eat these foods at night wake up feeling groggy, swollen, or with dry mouth and headaches. These are all subtle signs that the heart and vascular system were stressed during the night rather than supported. Fortunately, there are better options. Try air-popped popcorn with no salt, a warm bowl of oats with cinnamon or celery sticks with almond butter. These choices provide satisfaction without burdening your heart. If this information has helped you or someone you love, do not keep it to yourself. Please subscribe to our channel, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and forward this video to a friend or family member who could benefit. Let us take care of our hearts and help each other live healthier, stronger, and longer lives.